All right, guys, we're finally here. Facts Me, the People's Panel. I am Stephen Lancaster, and with me today for the maiden voyage of the People's Panel is Sam Marr, a guy who is slowly becoming a great friend of mine here on Facts Me. And, you know, I was just talking to him before the show about how this is something I wanted to do because it is about the people. And, you know, it's kind of taking that Charlie Kirk mentality of going out and talking to people and having conversations, whether you agree or not, but bringing it to this level where each week I can bring you guys on and we can just talk about everything and anything, whatever's currently going on, social issues, politics, it doesn't matter. And as I was telling Sam earlier, you're going to hear a nasal Stephen all this show. The pollen is winning. It is absolutely winning. What's up, Sam?
Hey, how's it going?
How you know? Well, you know, snotty. And that's about it.
Been better.
Yeah, I can't stand it. It really sucks, man, because it's something that I've lived with my whole life. My wife is actually, or not my wife, my mother had to have nasal surgery because it was so bad. And when you're a singer, it sucks. It really sucks. Like I have to literally plan my vocal recording around my snot. It's just fantastic. People don't understand the pain, man. They don't understand the pain. So I'm assuming you saw that we'll just kind of roll with this and see where it takes us, Sam, but that Candace Owens is now full on being a traitor in my mind. I mean, she is literally on her platform of 7.5 million people asking world leaders to take us out. What do you think about that, man?
Well, I mean, what is more betrayal than that? I mean, yeah, that's insane. There's not a lot of words for it other than treason. Like, yeah. What else do we call it? Like, could you imagine if Trump was saying, let's get Putin to kick out Joe Biden?
Right.
What are we talking about? This is stupid. Yeah, she regularly just wants to go for the most salacious thing she can say.
Yes.
And like she doesn't care.
There's literally like no shame or self-respect there at all. And I mean, yeah, more power to people that can walk through life without a conscience, but you know, I can't. And I think you're right. And what's interesting, man, is I've got a lot of people that are just learning about me for the first time. And when they pop onto my page, all they see is a Candace hater. You know, but it didn't start like that. Sure. You know, when Charlie died, I was already doing the Facts Me podcast and just an actual podcast. I was doing it in August. And then, you know, he died. And of course, that hit us all like we would expect it to. You know, sane people anyway. And, you know, Candace, when she first came out about it, was very supportive of Erica, very supportive of Turning Point USA, telling people, you know, don't jump on them, this, that, and the other thing. And I wouldn't say like I followed Candace for years, because just to be completely transparent, the only reason I ever knew who she was because of Charlie Kirk. I just started because I always followed Charlie. And I can remember in 2019, 2020, seeing this woman tagging along with Charlie. And that's how I learned about Candace. And it's kind of like, if God says it's okay, it must be okay because God said it. Well, if Charlie is vouching for this woman, I can't think of a better human being than Charlie Kirk. So she must be okay. Well, I think we can clearly say that Charlie saw something the rest of us didn't way ahead of time and, you know, gave her the axe just like everybody else has. But the point I'm slowly getting at, Sam, is I was never against her. In fact, if you go back and listen before I started doing the visual version of this show, my first couple podcast episodes on Candace Owens was very understanding. Like, I think she's just dealing with tons of grief. She doesn't know how to process it. You know, I was really trying to understand why she would be doing this. And I even said on the one podcast that she needed to step back, reassess, give herself time to heal. Don't play the hero. You know, this, that, and the other thing. You know, get yourself in a mentally stable place and then attack it with a clear head. So I was very sympathetic, but then she just kept coming, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it's like, I just can't have that sympathy anymore. So then my videos of understanding started turning into, wait a minute, she is flat out lying. You know, even though I at one point had some remorse for her, I can't just sit back, you know, and I just want people to understand that it wasn't from the beginning I disliked Candace. It wasn't until she started this stuff with Charlie Kirk and Erica that I think we finally started to see who Candace really was, and everything up until then was just a big front.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I couldn't agree more. You know, she constantly wants to like use her credentials as if she has this sparkling record. And this, I'm sorry, that's just not what I see. Like, so, I mean, we can go through a few things. You know, some of the first things, you know, I want to get into fallacy.
Sure.
Because I think fallacy is a great way that it's not a direct lie that she does. It's moving the context around until everything is murky and muddy and people don't really know what even evidence is anymore. So,
right.
You're right. So let's start with I'll say a fallacy is a false notion, statement, or argument based in a false or invalid inference, incorrectness in reasoning or belief. So there are formal fallacies and there are informal fallacies. So like in an argument, whether the whole structure of the argument, if that is the fallacy, then that's formal. If it's just a piece of the argument is fallacy, then that's informal. So like ad hominem, when people say like, oh, well, you got drunk one time, so you're going to be bad at your job. That's an informal fallacy. Or formal. Yeah, informal. So for me, one of the big things is there's fallacies and then there's lies. There's just outright lies. Okay. So some of the lies that I've caught are like Charlie becoming Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
When they started dating, when Charlie and Erica started dating, she lied to make it later. She lied about his letter to BB. She lied about accidents to excuse Tyler smirking in court. She lied about Tyler saying vehicle. She lied about Charlie hating Ben. She lied about Tyler Spider-Manning up the wall. And so these all kind of correlate with each other. These lies are in order to like redefine where the basis is of the investigation. And this also leads into the confirmation bias. And so what I really think all of this is underneath it all is psychological warfare, mm-hmm. which I mean, it aims to influence your adversary through non-kinetic means, propaganda, disinfo, deception, stuff like that. So part of this too is just the way they see everything. So they see everything through oppressor and oppressed lens. And so that is a part that goes into all this confirmation bias. So confirmation bias makes psychological way easier because it turns people's shortcomings, mental shortcomings against them to feed them false and misleading information. And there's a bunch of different kinds of confirmation bias. So one of the first ones I want to go over, because I think this is one of her favorites, is the anchoring bias. Okay. That's when people are relying on the first piece of information too heavily and dismiss later information. It's used by planting false initial indicators or disinformation narratives to anchor a target's expectation, and later contrary signals are downplayed as disinformation. And early sensational claims make the framework for later expectation. And so I think we've definitely seen that, especially with the text messages, Spider-Manning up the wall, doesn't say vehicle, stuff like that. That I would call the anchoring bias, as well as also, I mean, if we're getting into some of the like deeper context of this, like Charlie being the first casualty of Iran, that's an anchoring bias. Bibi did 9/11. That's another anchoring, but I don't know, but I know.
Right.
That's an anchoring. So there's also there's way more biases. There's the availability bias. So when everybody's flooded with all this stuff, the Jews, that's availability bias. A bandwagon effect. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, we know they love saying nobody believes the lone gunman, Fed slop, and they just rag on botted numbers, you know? So there's also the in-group bias that's favoring one's own group, another obvious one. The authority bias. This one isn't so obvious, but she uses it regularly. So overvaluing information from perceived authorities or credible sources while undervaluing others. So like a lot of the time she does these anonymous sources and she goes, oh, it's from a nurse. Oh, it's from a cop. Oh, it's from this. It's from that. This is the authority bias because people are taking her at her word without ever actually, that's what makes it the bias. So and honestly, I mean, Baron Coleman, like
right.
authority bias, because when's the last time he even practiced law? Like 5 years ago?
Right. And to put it in perspective, Kamala Harris is an attorney too.
Exactly.
You don't have, and our smiling McGee out there in California, who said himself he cannot read, has published a book, has passed the bar exam somehow without the ability to read. So I don't care what anybody says. Just because you say you're an attorney does not make you intelligent.
The first president that can't read, that's insane.
It's no wonder your state's failing, bro.
Yeah. Oh man, have you seen some of the stuff that's being revealed out there?
Oh yeah.
James O'Keefe and Nick Shirley have gone out there and just gone to work.
Dude, Nick Shirley is a force, man.
Yeah, dude.
That kid, man. I'm actually worried for him, man. I'm worried.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
and I said a long time ago, if Nick Shirley was killed, they would blame the Jews.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They would immediately.
Well, the thing with Candace is, and I have touched base on this so much, first and foremost, not everybody, and this is not a dig. This is just reality. Not everybody is on the same level as far as intelligence is concerned. That's just the way it is. There are things that I would blow your mind with scientifically or mathematically, but you ask me to go fix something on a car, I'm as ignorant as it gets. You know what I'm saying? So with her, and you're talking about the fallacy, well, that also leads to the hypocrisy, because you're right. She wants to say, oh, this in the past. Erica did this. Erica said this. Erica here, da. But the moment you flip that around on her, it's not credible.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't use something from 10 years ago and blah. And I get it to a degree. We've all done bad things in our life. We've all made mistakes. Yeah. Back when I was 19, getting arrested for assault. Does that make me a bad person? No. I was a 19-year-old drunk kid and I got arrested for assault because I was an idiot. But she wants to play it to where you can only use that rule with Erica.
Right.
And you can't use it with her. But when you compare the two, Candace wins by a long shot of her past. And you can only call it coincidence so many times. There is a pattern. It is blatantly obvious. And what kills me, especially with her cultists, is they'll jump right on this old Erica Kirk stuff But the moment you do it to Candace, they just don't care.
Right.
They do not care.
I think part of that, yes, exactly. And I think part of that is this confirmation bias. But, I'm not great at explaining it. I try to just give people like basics so they can go try and maybe debunk me and maybe they'll learn something. You know what I mean? But the other thing I wanted to say is like, you mentioned, you've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. But that's the thing is we repent for our mistakes.
Right.
And Candace is not repenting at all. She's just continuing. So when people are like, oh, well, Erica forgave Tyler. And it's like, yeah, well, that's a part of repentance. I mean, he's that doesn't mean he isn't going to suffer like consequences for his actions. Forgiveness is a part of what the Bible tells us to do. And she is doing the opposite. I mean, she's inverting the Bible. Like, it's messed up.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to slide this in real quick. Is she, once this is all said and done, and we know Candace in the end is going to lose, okay? And we can get into that later. But Erica is going to forgive her too.
Yeah.
And that will eat Candace Owens alive because she wants you to be mad at her. She wants to be the cause of something you're going through. She's a sociopath, dude. She really is.
I agree. I agree. One thing I also think is that maybe she is mentally stunted. I think part of it is that she possibly went through a traumatic time in her life and she hasn't mentally, emotionally grown out of it. Like, I saw a lot of stuff about her past, about her being bullied in school and stuff. And it seems like she's still kind of the same bully.
Right. She was actually arrested for harassment. We can go all the way back to that 2008, 2009, suing the Board of Education, and ironically attacking the mayor's son, pick some high profile official. So you get the NAACP in there and it gets all this national news. She knows what she's doing. She started it early, but that's still no excuse. It's like, when I see these people, let's say they get arrested for a teenager murdering their parents, right? And they say, well, it's because of how he was raised. It's because he was abused. And I hate that excuse. You are your own person. You take what happened to you and you make yourself stronger. You learn from those mistakes. You don't use those as excuses for the rest of your life. And in comparison to when we're talking about, and this is something I did a debate the other day with this guy and he is refusing to air it.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, yeah, he got left in the dust, son. Let me tell you. Okay. So he thought he was going to get it. He recorded it. I didn't, but he recorded it. So he's blocked me now. So he's not even gonna
be careful. He might clip that up and try to make it against
I hope
you.
He does. I hope he does.
Oh, okay.
Bring it to me, son. Bring it to me. Bring those people to me. There's no such thing as bad publicity, man.
That's fair.
Bring it to me and I will clear it up with you. And if you don't like my response, then move on. That's all I'm gonna say. But here's something people need to know. And this was one of the things I shut this guy down on. The majority of the things that Candace is trying to pawn off as terrible for Erica Kirk, we know a lot of them are just untrue to begin with. But a lot of these video clips and audio clips, she is pulling from when Erica was on that dating show.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I want people to understand, and I can tell you this with 100% certainty. I have been on national television at least a dozen times through various reality shows, all paranormal related. From My Ghost Story, that show on A&E and Biography, My Ghost Story, I've done it twice. I've done I don't know who it's with now. It was Travel Channel at one point, Discovery Plus, but A Haunting. I've done that show twice. I've been on episodes of Ghost Hunters. I am here to tell you that reality TV is completely fake. It is completely fake, and it is scripted to a degree. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say with a haunting, which is New Dominion Pictures. They're a good company. They always treated me good every time I was on the show. But reality shows are designed to entertain, and reality really isn't entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, I saw some douchebag post on one of Tara's posts this morning that, you know, good luck going on Stephen's show. Maybe it won't be boring anymore. And I responded back to him. I said, well, it's only not going to be boring if we lie and make up fake narratives. So if you don't like the truth is boring, then you should probably move on from the show. But okay, so you go into the studio, let's say, we'll use a haunting, for example. I send them my footage of the particular ghost hunt or whatever, and then they come up with the questions they're going to ask. And you go into this little studio and you sit there, and they've got their backdrop set up and all this stuff. You're surrounded by a lighting crew, microphones, the audio guy, the director, all this stuff. And they'll say, how did you feel about that, Stephen? And then I'd say, oh, you know, it was pretty interesting as a paranormal researcher, blah, blah, blah. But weren't you scared? No, I wasn't really scared. You know, I thought it was interesting. But you thought it was demonic, didn't you? And what they do is they feed you what they want you to take what you said, and then they give you a way to reword it so it has more of an impact.
Yeah, leading questions.
And what they do, and it's really pissed me off with A&E, they kept trying to get me to refer to a particular haunting as demonic. And I personally didn't believe it was. So what they did, after everything was shot, everything was filmed, they literally cut up sentence fragments and pieced together sentences that made it sound like I was saying the haunting was demonic. And I never said anything remotely close. I was actually against it. But once you sign that dotted line that it's for entertainment purposes, they can do whatever they want with your footage, you know? And then I just corrected online when people ask me about it. No, they lied. They're a typical TV show, you know? So there you go. So Erica's on this dating show. She's being told you have to be entertaining. You need to say sex sells. You need to hang on this guy. We need to get this shot. They will literally stage shots on reality TV when I would go to the actual location to where they could film those segments for the show. They are literally putting markers on the floor, putting areas where you need to look, where you need to walk, where you need to do this, you know, where you need to act shocked. They are directing you through the whole thing and calling it reality TV. So to take things, as she said, on a scripted reality show is the point I'm getting at, is completely different than taking the real world horrible things that Candace Owens has done of her own volition.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of it too, like you were saying, is it's leading context or leading questions with specific context. It's carefully crafted and framed to give certain emotional reactions in order to the audience. So, and that's a part of fallacy too. That's like appeal to emotion is a form of fallacy.
She has taken essentially what writers do for television. You always end that episode on a cliffhanger because you need the people to come back to the new episode because you are making money off of advertising. And if you don't keep those people coming back, the advertisers drop you. So she's taken that technique of the cliffhanger, and that's what she does. And, you know, for us, people who are critical thinkers, that may work one or two times.
Right.
But 7 months of it, and these people are still buying it?
Yeah.
It's like you want to, on one hand, they want to say she's this great investigator. And then when you ask them, well, what has she proven over the years? Crickets. So where are you getting that she's a great investigator? And now we're 7 months into an investigation that was solved by actual investigators in 48 hours? Right?
Yeah.
She's now 7 months in, and you're still going to try to say she's a great investigator? No, she's a great instigator. That's it.
Yeah, for real. And, I mean, there was a couple weeks ago, it was very obvious that none of them had even read the indictment yet. And now they're all saying that, well, the indictment is just a piece of paper. They still have to prove it in court. It's like, yeah, well, that's the point, though. That's the whole point, is that they're going to prove it in court, not bring a bunch of these fallacies that you guys are talking about,
right?
And try to confuse people for drama and clicks and money. Like, that just is obviously not helping. And so, yeah, it's just such a mess. It's crazy. It's so
really
crazy.
Is. And you've probably caught me saying it here and there, but this is my personal view on it. I can't say fact. It's just a personal view. Nothing good in any way is going to come out of this for Tyler Robinson. Right. Let's just say, for some reason, Candace has influenced that jury and Tyler Robinson gets off. How long do you think that man's going to last out in general population?
I mean, that kind of depends. He's probably going to end up suing the state if he gets found not guilty. He would probably end up suing media companies for all of what they've said. And so, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I thought the same thing when we were talking about, what was that swimmer kid that took advantage of that passed out girl behind a trash can?
Yeah.
I thought the same thing about that kid. And, I mean, he did get bullied in college or something like that, I heard. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think that a lot of the population is as angry and ready to do something about stuff as some of us maybe would be, like me or you would be. But I don't think like everybody in the general population necessarily. I don't know. I agree that you and me would definitely want to do something.
Right.
But I mean, there's also so many Candace people and stuff like, they might end up making a GoFundMe for him.
Oh, I mean, she did it for Mitch Snow.
Yeah.
I mean, so raising money for this guy.
There's no low that they won't go. So
I tend to, just differ a little bit. I don't think he'll be safe. I think there's going to be, because we've got extremists on both sides.
Yeah.
Now it is more on the left, but we do have extremists on the right. You have extremists with everything. And I think the best thing for him would be, dude, you better hope you get convicted.
Right.
Because if you walk out that courthouse.
Yeah. I hope you don't think I'm just giving you a little bit of devil.
No. And you could be right. He could walk out and nothing ever happened, but that's not going to happen. That is just absolutely, because we've read the legal documents.
I agree. All corroborating evidence points directly at Tyler Robinson.
Yes.
I mean, the only people who are still arguing this just don't understand corroborating evidence or the chain of custody for evidence. So, okay, for instance, like, they also, like I said, they jump on these anchor bias. So, like, another thing was like the dog search. Okay, that was only brought forward by Candace.
Right.
Nobody else. That's never been on record. So like, a lot of this stuff is just these anchor biases that people fall back on that aren't even true. And so, like, the gun was found the first day, or it was the next day or something. They found the gun pretty quickly, and then they found the DNA, and they scheduled the evidence. They bagged the evidence. And so once it's bagged, they can't go back and put DNA on it.
Right.
Obviously it's planted evidence.
And here's the thing, Sam, this is what kills me, is people want to overcomplicate everything. Yes. Here's the thing. Let's just think about this realistically. If somebody wants you dead, they are going to find a way to do it. Okay. Now, if you're trying to, let's say, like, one of the cards that Candace is playing is that this was an inside job, or the government's involved, or Mossad, or the Jews, this huge conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk. Why would you do it at a huge public event like that if you were trying to hide something?
It's not the way Martin Luther King was killed.
Right. There are so many ways.
Yes,
That
exactly.
you could
Especially
literally,
if we're using some little device that might not even work.
right. So it's like Charlie Kirk's on a schedule. You know where he's going to be. You know where he's going to land. You know what cars he's getting into. All it would take is to sit somewhere, no crowded area, and when you see him, shoot him and then drive off. But
yeah,
that is how something on the inside would work. He would have been killed in his home or just out in public somewhere, going to the mall, to where there wasn't shit you could track and trace.
Exactly. If this was a real professional hit by like top government officials and from another country or something, they would have made him look like he had a heart attack.
Right. Or it had been a sniper with a Dragunov rifle that can fire 1.5 to 2 miles away.
Oh,
you know, I mean, come on there. If it's that high level, they've got the goods, man. They've got the goods to make it happen. They could have put a bomb in his car. I mean, who knows? There's so many easy ways.
So like JFK was dealing with the mafia and stuff. Like these donors are not the mafia.
Right.
These donors, I mean, Dinesh D'Souza did an interview with one of the donors that stopped donating because he kept having Tucker.
Yeah.
And he was just some guy who started donating somewhere else. I mean, he was like, yeah, it's super unfortunate that I couldn't influence Charlie the way I wanted to, but he obviously wasn't about to end his life. That's insane.
People, they don't think about, they try to overcomplicate things. They don't think about how simple this stuff can actually be, that if you want somebody dead, you can do it. It happens all the time, and it doesn't have to be a spectacle. Yeah. That's just another reason that points to Tyler. He doesn't have that experience. He doesn't have that education to, hey, Charlie parked in the parking lot. I could have just sat there in a car, and as he got out of his car, shot him and then drove off.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to scale an entire building. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get situated. I'm going to have to run to escape. This whole making it bigger than what it is just silly to me. It is cut and dry.
I agree. And like we said earlier, I think all the corroborating evidence is going to speak for itself. I mean, the video, his clothes, the rifle, the text messages, his parents, where's the evidence to the contrary?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the point I was about to get at. And you have Candace, who has admitted on her show that she doesn't know anything about ballistics and forensics. Her own words. Okay. She's getting this information from people who do, right? Mm-hmm. Or supposedly do. We don't ever get to know who these people are. It's probably Google is all I'm going to say. But that's what kills me. It's like they could come to my page or be talking to you or somebody who grew up with firearms, somebody who hunts every year. My father retired from a ballistics laboratory. You can best believe I know firearms more than your average guy. So when I tell them, hey, there's more than just one 30-06 bullet. There are all these possibilities. You are going to fight me on it and go listen to the woman who admitted she doesn't know jack shit about firearms.
Yeah, funny how that works. Yeah, they're all very concerned with surface level type inconsistencies. So, like, for instance, I saw earlier on one of the Candy Cult things that one of the things they were talking about was that Tyler Robinson's messages, he said something about how they were going to release pictures of the gun, but they're saying that there was no pictures released, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so what? He just thought that they were going to release pictures of the gun, and it's a specific gun. That's easily explainable. you know, they really want to focus on these small little things that can easily be explained by Hanlon's razor, which is very simple. Yeah.
I firmly believe, and people have argued with me about it, and it's just an opinion, but I firmly believe that if Candace Owens wouldn't have started this shit, we wouldn't even be sitting here talking about it, Sam. You know what I'm saying? Barron, all these other people, these dumbasses, they didn't jump on this shit until Candace started rolling with it.
Right.
And Project Constitution and these other douchebags, you know, they weren't doing it. I've went back and I've looked. I have followed me and this woman on YouTube. I can't remember her name. Me and her were the very first two people I can find historically on the internet that were talking about this before the mainstreamers got in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what kind of pissed me off. It's like the mainstreamers were literally at that point echoing what I had already said.
Mm-hmm.
And then running with it in their own way. You know, I just don't understand how there's so many levels of this that's wrong, Sam. Like, for one, if you're an American and you are cheering Candace on for saying other countries need to come take us out, there is something wrong with you. You don't belong here. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Candace Owens. I don't care if Charlie Kirk would have got in one of his videos and said that, I would have stopped listening to Charlie Kirk. You know, I don't care who you are. You don't ask other countries to come blow up where you're living.
Yeah, and I mean, Charlie would have never said that. I mean, look at how he talked about the Ukraine, Zelensky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, so the other thing you mentioned, you know, at the beginning, and that brings me back to something that I thought about earlier. For me, what I think Charlie's main message was that everybody is created equally in the eyes of God, and we all have inherent rights that are enshrined by the Bill of Rights, not granted for it to be legislated away later, enshrined by the Bill of Rights from God. And I think a lot of this is just meant to revise Charlie's mission, meant to revise Charlie's legacy in order to, well, other than Darvo against his own family. I mean, it's for a political influence campaign. You know, I don't, you know, and part of it, I think, is, you know, is the psyops, is the actual psyops that I see. I mean, okay, so for instance, do you remember when they changed George Farmer's birthday so that so that Candace could get out of the interview?
Yeah.
That's some weird psyop shit. I mean, obviously their marriage in general is kind of weird. I mean, the weird arrangement.
No, kinda.
Yeah, the weird arrangement by John Mappin. That's so weird. Plus the ties to Tate. Right. I mean, we're talking about a Scientologist and a Muslim.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she's not confirmed Catholic either.
No. She keeps misleading people about that too.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's bothering me too, is you can literally show people these truths and they're just, it won't sink in. They're like, nope.
Exactly. Like Joe Kent. Joe Kent. Okay. So Joe Kent was counterintelligence. He does not have the power to investigate.
Right.
And there was that Austin shooter, Diagna or something like that, who was defending Candace online and then shot up Austin. So what was Joe doing?
Right.
Joe would quit. Joe's failing, dude. So like, he didn't stop these terrorist attacks while this guy was wild online, and then he quits and everybody rolls out the red carpet like he's a hero.
Right.
And just why? I just don't understand. What did he do? That's so heroic.
Well, that's like Green. You know, I never liked Green to begin with. I just, there was always something about her that felt fake to me.
Yeah, MTV.
And very, I don't think she's very intelligent in the way she tries to be, but it's like her. It's like cheering her on. Look, these people, they're in it for themselves.
Yeah.
Their whole persona is a business, so they're doing like Megyn Kelly selling out, like Tucker. They are doing what's going to keep the money flowing. And that says all that needs to be said about the character. But, I made a point the other day that kind of stopped some people in their tracks when it comes to this whole Charlie Kirk thing, that there has to be this huge motive as to why he was killed. A psyop. It was assassins. It was Egyptian airplanes. It was all this stuff. Some laser from NASA. They halted bringing forth the Antichrist because they had to kill Charlie Kirk with their laser from space. Who knows what Candace is going to say next? But people, again, look at what is being said and then ask yourself, well, why? Okay, so this cup here, I bought this cup. This was the example I used, right? I own this cup. This cup is now mine. I will forever have it until I probably drop it and break it, right? So I have this cup. So why would I go and kill the person who manufactured the cup for me if I already have it to get the cup?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I was saying about Erica. She already had Charlie Kirk. She already had Turning Point USA. She already had all this money. She already has her own podcast, her own gigs going. What was she to gain to kill Charlie Kirk to get what she already had?
Yeah, nothing.
It makes no sense. But when you take that same philosophy and you flip it to Candace Owens, it makes total fucking sense.
Well, I agree. So another thing that I think about this is it's what we're talking about. For me, I think it's kind of a battle of knowledge versus wisdom, and because these people, they have all this knowledge of all these like one little cases or little niches of what things that they are really diving deep into, especially with the Charlie Kirk case.
Yeah,
and versus wisdom of like the overarching of all of the things that are supposed to add together for things to make sense. All of the, you know what I'm saying? The knowledge of small things versus the wisdom of, maybe not everything, but the concept of everything. You know what I'm saying?
And here's what people, I'm fortunate in the sense that I've been on the other side of the camera. I've been on the business side of entertainment, whether it be film, television, or music. I know how marketing works. I know what you've got to do to sell that product, right? So with Candace selling all this stuff, again, when it doesn't have to be, you have to step back and you have to think, okay, she's went from this to this, to this, to this. Again, and nobody's questioning this stuff, Yeah. But here's the fact. Here's the thing that people are missing. Candace had one type of audience, and that audience started to decline. Same thing with Megyn Kelly. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. They're the three that I think are the top as far as they were seeing a decline in their views, in their fiscal reporting, everything. Okay. So they had to change up the game, but by changing up the game, they lost what used to be their core audience, but they gained a completely different audience, which I think is safe to say leans more left, more liberal.
And I've seen it. I've talked to them.
Right. So, and as well as I do, you can show facts until you're blue in the face to a leftist and they don't care. It doesn't matter. You're wasting your time. Like I said to you yesterday, that guy that was giving you a hard time and you were throwing it right back. I'm like, dude, he's just not going to get it. He's a liberal. It's over. So
yeah, it's the internet.
You got to take that and look. Okay, Candace she has a completely, totally different audience because the people that followed her before, I'm seeing their posts and they are remorseful. They are the ones saying, I can't believe I used to follow her. What happened to her? They're the level-headed people. Okay. So she's got this completely new audience. And what I'm getting at is I had a moment yesterday. I was on X which I don't mess with X and TikTok as much as I do Facebook. Facebook's I have my most fun, my most interaction, but I still post all the stuff these other places. TikTok now, I just drop it off and leave. I just don't even care. You know what I mean? It's just another place to put the stuff.
For sure.
But okay, I had a moment and I was so happy, Sam. I haven't even told anybody this yesterday. I was on X and I posted which video was it? It was one of the recent ones. Anyway, it was a recent one that I posted on Facebook yesterday. I also posted it on X. And this guy comes in and he's arguing with me. He's arguing with me. Candace didn't say that, this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah. And I said, dude, did you even watch the video? It is literally her saying it. Okay. And he says, yeah, but I don't know, man. I still think this, that, and the other thing. And I just asked him a simple question. I said, well, how would you feel if you found out that she supports pedophiles, rapists, sexual predators? She associates with these people. She's defending them. And he said, none of that's true, blah, 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 you know, like they always do. Yeah. And I asked him point blank, I said, how long have you been following Candace? And this is when it clicked with me. And he said, since September. So he never knew the Candace Owens before the Charlie Kirk thing. And I think that's the case. I think that's the case with about 80% of her audience now. Definitely. They don't know the Candace from before. So I said, okay, man, I'm going to be fair with you. Here are 2 videos. And I sent him links to the one video of her talking with Andrew Tate and defending Andrew Tate, to defending Weinstein. I sent him that video and saying Weinstein's innocent, defending him, blah, blah, blah. He came back with, dude, thank you for sharing this with me. I had no idea. He said, I didn't know she was like this. That is rare that he was able to put his ego aside and say, thank you, man. And that's what people need to understand with people like you and me and Tara and Chloe and all these other people that are frequent to Facts Me. We're not doing this out of spite. We're not trying to piss off a Candace fan. We're trying to help them. You know, I've said it like, dude, I'm not your enemy. Don't get mad at me for saying what is in a court document. All I'm doing is telling you the truth. This is what's in the court document about the 30-6, and you're trying to tell me I'm an idiot. No, why don't you go talk to the prosecution then? Because they're the ones that put it there. Yeah. You know, I'm not here to be your enemy. I'm here because you're getting snowed by this woman and these other grifters. That's a friendly thing. I'm not doing it out of spite. If I was doing it out of spite, I would just be making up a ton of shit.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
That's not me, you know.
And that brings another good point. And I think a big part of being an honest person is just being able to correct the record when you're wrong.
Right.
And I have seen her try and kind of correct the record, but not actually correct the record. You know what I mean?
Right.
She never said anything about Tyler Spider-Maning up the wall. Like, there's a lot of things that she did not correct the record on, like when they started dating, stuff like that. But that's what makes an honest person, is when they're met with superior facts and evidence, they change their mind, they change their opinion.
Right. And I would love nothing more to have constant content that is interesting to everybody, but I'm not going to, I've said it in my videos. I've said it on Facebook. I am not going to do, you guys got to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping da-da-da-da. And I literally have nothing.
Tune in next time.
It's like I get a ton of messages a day, people asking me, hey, what's the deal with the, now I forget what it was called. I've done Last Applause. That book I posted a few times that is literally the Charlie and Candace story, right?
So weird.
And what's the follow-up on this? Literally, I'm here to tell you guys, nothing. I have found nothing. Amazon won't get back to me. They can't release personal information. There is no, I have went as far as I can with it. So there's no need for me to keep milking that. It's just an anomaly unless something else comes out about it. I'm just,
I think, I agree. I think it's super weird, and maybe it is just a coincidence. There have been some really weird coincidences. I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, I think this is a part of the whole thing where I'm like, that's the real psyop. You know what I mean? Like, because what about the Daily Mail article?
Right.
What about community notes being hijacked?
Right.
Like, there's all of these signs that it's like, this is not just a small, unorganized. This is an operation. This is an organized campaign. This is not some kind of like, oh, well, I'm just trying to make some money. No, this is a plan, dude. This is the anchor bias. I'm telling you, that's not something that people do by accident.
I saw this guy the other day. I can't remember his name. I almost jumped on that angle just because I knew it would piss her off. But I decided not to. But he's getting a ton of hits for it, though. He is suggesting that Candace Owens was purchased.
Like by George Farmer?
She was purchased, that she is literally a modern day slave. And he takes these clips of George. I'll have to find it and send it to you because it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's no real proof to it. It's more of, hey, this is a possibility. But he takes these clips of George talking about Candace, but he frames it and has you view it through that lens as if she's bought, if she's hired help.
Dude, their marriage is so weird.
And if you think about that, what sane person would act the way she is acting unless they're being forced to? And it makes you kind of think, okay, she's either really legitimately mentally ill
and projecting,
or she is just really, really, really evil, or she's being told what to do. And when you look at what this guy was pointing out, man, he said that George Farmer was going bankrupt last year. Businesses were failing left and right. His app that he was pawning off on Kanye that ended up failing, all that stuff. And his family isn't giving him money anymore, and why is that? Could that be they don't approve of what,
they don't,
great. Yeah. So he makes a good case for it that he needs to keep his bloodline going. So he needs children. And if you view it through that lens, Candace Owens would be the easiest target in the world. She's not bright. She can only sound smart when something is written for her. She dropped out of high school, finished her GED at homeschooling because of all the chaos she caused at school, dropped out of college. Okay, she has no formal education. And he knew, you can look at her past. Everything she has ever tried to do is to get famous. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with that. If you, I don't know why people hold it against other people for wanting to be famous. If that's what you want to be famous, man. Whatever, go do what you got to do. Just do it ethically.
There's a big difference between trying to be famous and just grifting.
Right.
Right. I agree. People should have goals and want to succeed. I agree.
And she had admitted that she wanted to be an actress. She's in the rap videos. She was on all these talent websites. That's what she wanted. She wanted fame. And this guy kind of plays that angle that George saw that, knew he could buy her, knew he could use her to have his kids, and he could use her as a puppet to go against all these things. And nobody has more motive to hate Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA than Candace and George, because they wanted Turning Point USA.
And they still do.
And I think that's why Candace was being so nice after Charlie died, because I think in her arrogant mind, she firmly believed that it was going to be too much to handle for Erica, and that Erica was going to say, hey, will you come on board and help with this? And when that didn't happen, it's night and day. You saw that video I posted of all of her podcasts up until a moment. She was nothing but supportive. And then the next day it flipped and the chaos just started and hasn't stopped.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's when she realized she was going to get nothing out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think there's way more like evidence behind that claim than there is behind French Legion and maroon shirts and Mormon bee cults and whatever else.
And it's so silly because again, when you look at who has motive, we know Tyler had motive. He was again. He thought Charlie was a hateful person. These are his own words. You know, he was against the trans thing and this and that. That was his motive.
Mm-hmm.
Candace and George have a motive. But why would President Trump have a motive? Charlie was his biggest cheerleader, man.
Exactly.
Charlie literally helped get Trump elected.
Mm-hmm.
Big
and you know, right after that happened, you know, a reporter asked Trump and he kind of dismissed the question. And for me, that seemed like he was trying to show strength at the time.
Yeah,
I don't think he was trying to dismiss Charlie.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to basically not break down, not have a mental breakdown right there in front of the whole country after your top guy just got shot in the neck right in front of everybody.
And what people need to understand with Trump too is he's a salesman.
Yeah.
He is a business person, and that is exactly what our government needed. Our government needed somebody who wasn't a politician, that was business oriented. And the man is good at it. It's funny because
he won't give up just because the Democrats are giving him trouble. Like, so I really think that we are watching like kind of a whisper campaign with Nick Shirley going to the Minnesota fraud and then going to the California fraud. I think we are kind of watching these like kind of steady like info leak into these like YouTubers kind of schedules, like, hey, you might want to check this place out. Hey, this place looks sketchy. You know, I think it's making big waves. Maybe not immediately big waves, but I think it is making waves. There was a operation in California. They just found $230 billion of fraud in California, and they arrested a bunch of people and called it Operation No Time to Die, I think it was. That proves Nick Shirley right.
Yeah. Well, there's three things I'm going to touch base on here. Okay, first and foremost, the internet is a glorious tool that unfortunately can be super abused, which we're seeing, you know, with the grifters and all that kind of thing. So you've got more people out there that have all this information at their fingertips. And if their intentions are good, we get Nick Shirley's, right? Mm-hmm. We get Facts Me, we get Sam's, you know, we get Tara's. So, but then you've got the Candaces and Megyn Kelly and Tucker and all that, you know, so you take the good with the bad. It's like anything. It's just like there's good cops, there's bad cops. It's just going to happen. You know, the next thing is, where do you draw the line? You know, where do you draw the line? You want to say Trump had this done. Well, again, Charlie, to me, is one of the main reasons Trump was elected. But Trump, what people need to understand about his personality is he doesn't have a good one. Right? He is an asshole.
He's a douche, yeah.
But he is a genuine asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
sure.
You have to think like a salesman. Okay. Right. And when he says what he did on Easter, you know, that he's going to level Iran. Did I really think he was going to do that? Absolutely not. I saw right through it. It's a sales pitch. It's a threat. Like, look, you guys, I'll push the button. I will push the button. You know, you have to. This is war. That's like that douchebag you and me were arguing with yesterday. You know, you know, we're supporting
civilization, saying he's going to wipe out a civilization.
Right. He's not going to do that.
Do you even know the civilization that you're talking about? Like, what do you mean? They're hanging their people from cranes, dude.
Right.
Like, they deserve to be wiped out.
He wouldn't answer anything back. You know, he's trying to say it's not very Christian-like. And then I said, well, would it be Christian-like if we just sat back and let them nuke us? Right. And he completely ignored it. I mean, nobody wants war, man, unless you're a psycho. You know, but you should be supporting.
You couldn't even spell civilization.
Right. You shouldn't be. So you have to support our troops, man. They're us. They're over there, whether you agree with it or not. But that's the argument that drives me nuts. The left would rather us be a target than the one firing the gun. And that is scary, dude. That's why I don't like Democrats in office.
Yeah.
They're weak. They don't
Yeah.
know how to handle these situations.
Well,
and
yeah,
Trump does, like him or not. Nothing but good things are coming.
And it's awesome. I mean, come on. We went back and we got those 2 pilots. The European mind cannot comprehend something like that.
Right.
And also, I mean, Maduro, like Biden was like 25 million just for information, and we're still going to have to go get him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Trump's like, no, we'll take care of it. No problem. And then it's the end of the world. And so that I think part of, that's, I think, part of another one of these like circular reasoning fallacies, because, the premise is in the question. They expect the conclusion to be the premise. Trump is the bad guy. Trump did thing. Trump bad. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing of like circular reasoning, I wish people would try to understand more into like, and I'm not saying like people like us that are like trying to bring facts, but it just the idea of circular reasoning is not always easy to determine whether it's circular reasoning or not. But if there is no evidence and conclusion other than the premise, then it's circular reasoning.
Yeah, and it's so bad too, man. It's like, and I've had to convince myself not to expect so much from people, but it's like I tell people, man, I'm going to tell you the facts whether I agree with them or not.
Exactly.
There are plenty of things out there, laws that are out there, plenty of things that are factual that I'm like, that sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's scary. Like, perfect.
Right. That's what's scary with the left.
Right.
Is they don't give a shit,
Exactly.
And I was watching Benny Bankus the other day.
Oh, I love that.
I know he's great. I'm actually going to do a reaction video to the one that he, the one I watched yesterday, which was fantastic. And he's talking about the left and how he's like, how is it that it's okay for them to like kill us and hate us, but we're not allowed to think that towards them? And that's the left in a nutshell, man. And it's not just the left. Again, there are right extremists. But these people, man, they are so anti-American. They're so anti-progress. They're so it's all about them. And that is the generation that is Candace's audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I see with the left too, and I don't want to harp on this a whole lot, but so the left likes to talk about systemic racism.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have the same rights. For me, what I see systemic racism as is it's the parable of the elephant tied to a post. And it's about mental conditioning. Okay, so the Democratic Party is telling people that there's systemic racism and they'll never get to all of the achievements that white people could get to, or they'll never have the house, or they'll never have the car, they'll never have the whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all lies, and it's all a mental conditioning project on these people in order to keep them dependent.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also a master class in deflecting. And, I made a post about this the other day. No, I'm not racist. I'm not prejudiced. I've dealt with that shit just as much as the next black guy.
This is why we're against the Nazi shit.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Dude, when I was growing up, I had hair down to here, Metallica, Kill 'Em All shirt, torn jeans. Right. Dude, eyeballs were always on me. If I walked into a record store or something, oh, he's going to steal something, or he must be a drug addict looking like that. We all deal with that shit. It's just whether or not you let that define you or whether or not you use that as an excuse. And that was the point of my post the other day. Let's say, now, this is fictitious, people at home that may take this little snippet and use it against me down the road. Let's say I am a racist. Okay. I'm not, but let's say I am. And I say Candace Owens is a piece of shit and she's lying all the time. She's done this, all factual stuff. And you say, oh, you're just saying that because you're a racist. Well, I am a racist, but that doesn't change the truth of what I just said. And that's kind of their go-to, that you can call anybody out, anybody, another white guy or an Asian, call them out on something they did wrong, and they say, oh, you're just a racist. Even if I am, does that change the fact you did what you did?
Exactly.
They want to use it as their get out of jail free card every time. That fallacy you're talking about, you know, if you just, and that's what pissed me off about that douchebag on Fair Media. All he kept trying to do, I don't know if you watched that or not, but he had me on his show and he tried to race bait me the entire time.
Yeah.
Because I
tried to watch it. It was hard because it was on the Facebook platform, wasn't it?
So I couldn't. Yeah.
So every time I opened it, if anything would happen, if I would have to take a call or something, it would start the whole thing over.
Well, so he started with a
little more than halfway.
Yeah. He started with trying to say that it wasn't equal with how Erica was being treated versus how Candace was being treated. And he was insinuating it was because Candace was black. And I said, no, you're comparing apples and oranges. Candace is getting the heat she's getting because she is lying and attacking Charlie's widow, his children, his organization. Erica isn't doing that. That's why there's no comparison. You can dig into Erica's background all you want. What does that have to do with Charlie being murdered? Nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nothing. We've all made mistakes, so and he kept going with it because I use ghetto all the time, but I use it in the sense of what the word actually means. The ghettos were the places the Nazis stored the Jews until they were hauled off to be killed, slaughtered. Okay. Not a good thing. So when I call Candace ghetto trash, it's because she hates Jews. She is like a Nazi. So I'm using it historically correct. And he kept trying to play it like, oh, you're being racist. You're throwing out that ghetto. No, I'm using it because she hates Jews and is acting like a Nazi. And that's where the term ghetto came from. But he did that the whole show, man, trying to make it a racial thing, and it just isn't.
Yeah, that's a losing argument. I mean, the whole race thing, it's a losing argument because it doesn't matter. I mean, pigment doesn't matter. I mean, that's another thing that Charlie had to deal with all the time too, and like I said earlier, this for me is part of why they are doing all this, like revising his history thing, is just because they are so predominantly focused on race.
Yeah.
And Charlie was not. Charlie was the opposite. Charlie was very not focused on race. And he believed that everybody should be equal.
Right.
Everybody should have equal rights, equal opportunities.
And
if you don't make the best out of your opportunities, that's your own fault.
That's on you. Right. And what people fail to realize is Charlie was trying to help them, kind of like we're doing here with Facts Me. We're not saying this to spite you or to make you feel bad. We're telling you because you're being taken advantage of or you're being lied to. And you said it, the Democrats and the left want you to be this weak. They want you to believe all this stuff because you're their voters. And I've seen just about every Charlie. Like I said, I've followed him forever, but all those cases where, like I just watched one yesterday, black guy comes up and he instantly attacks Charlie, because Charlie's against DEI. We all should be. I don't care what color you are. If you're not qualified for the job, you don't belong.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you said to Charlie. Charlie says, it's on you, dude. It's on you. You have the same exact opportunities that I do. That privilege thing is one of the biggest lines of bullshit I have ever heard. And I throw it to people. My claim to fame was getting book deals. My first one was in 2009, Ghost Stories. And I had sent these manuscripts in, dude. There wasn't a picture of me. These publishers didn't know I was a white dude. They didn't know anything about me. All they had was my work. the manuscript that I was trying to sell. And they signed me to a 3-book deal based off of that manuscript. Nothing else. And it was probably 2 years before my acquisitions editor even realized I was a white dude. So don't tell me I'm handed shit because I'm white.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Everybody has the same. Everybody is completely exposed to all the same things. Like, everybody has the internet. Everybody has every opportunity to fill out applications, do whatever they need to do. All of it's there, I mean, I'm not super into a lot of the, like, the college courses and stuff, but I'm all for trade school. I went to trade school. I got a house before I was 30, which is, I mean, I had to work hard,
Yeah.
I didn't take anything for granted. I had to save. I had to, use my money wisely.
Yeah. College, that's a conversation for another day, but I will tell you this. I was a director of marketing for 4 multi-million-dollar businesses in Myrtle Beach for 10 years, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And these people would come in and apply for jobs at one of the 4 locations. And I would also handle the hiring. Not one time did I hire somebody who had a degree. I would hire the people that had the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, you can have all the knowledge in the world about something. Like, I have all the knowledge in the world about baseball and football, but I am the most non-athletic person in the world. That doesn't mean I could go play it and be good at it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you can study music and you can learn the science behind it, but that doesn't make you're able to sing it or perform it. So it's that experience. I always looked, who's been out in the field, who has worked this kind of thing. I don't want that fresh out of college they've got the knowledge, but they don't got the experience.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I kind of got to go.
Sam, I was about to wrap this up, man.
One thing I'll say before we leave is, the other day I sat down to use the bathroom and I ran out of toilet paper, and I just got to think that's what every day being a Candace fan is like. Sitting down and being like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah. And then you go to flush the toilet and it's clogged. You can't get rid of the shit. You can't get rid of the shit, man. It's Candace.
No, it's everywhere. Shit everywhere.
Well, Sam, this was great, man. Having you on the very first People's Panel. We're going to do it again. Got Tara later today. Man, thank you.
Thank you.
All of our voices are to be heard here on Facts Me, whether you agree or disagree. Anybody wants to come on the show, just send me a message, man. We can debate. We can just agree. We can disagree. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all about you guys. Here with Tara Schuster, and we're going to have a nice little hour-long conversation about whatever. We're just kind of gonna go, so Facts Me, we have our own show and do this, that, and the other thing, lives and tons of reels, but to me, I'm kind of taking the Charlie Kirk enthusiasm of, hey, we all just need to talk, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a platform where we agree. You guys can come on and debate. We can do, Sam and I were talking about doing round tables where we get a handful of us, kind of in 4 blocks, 4 cameras going, do round tables. But today we're sitting with Tara. She's been just an awesome supporter, super intelligent lady. She's one of the first to jump on the Facts Me Cool Kids train. And so here we are. So, Tara, how are you doing today?
Good. This
awesome.
is like first one that, besides just writing articles. So I'm excited that I get to come on with you.
Hey, I don't know why I keep saying we, because I'm just like one guy. But I've noticed when you say we, it makes it feel like you're important. But we are glad to have you here today.
Well, we and all of our fans, so we want to be like Candace Owens, and we all think this.
So what do you, speaking of Candace Owens, I started out with Sam with the same question. What do you think about, I mean, there's so much to unpack with her, but the recent post of hers pretty much telling other world leaders we're the enemy and to come get us.
I mean, it's just for attention at this point. What else can she do? The Erica Kirk thing flopped.
Yeah.
You know, she never found the Charlie Kirk killer, you know, so it's like whatever outrageous thing she can put up. And Tucker's doing like similar stuff too.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Like there's this group of podcasters that I don't know if they're switching parties or they have like political aspirations on the left or libertarian, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But they all have like united and they're all doing the same talking points and they're going against Israel. And I know that was like, I don't know, just like a cool thing to say, ooh, Mossad or anti-Zionist or Zionist, and just using those words and that like display hate. And so people are attracted to hate for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
And all the platforms kind of do it. They kind of pit people against each other because you're going to stay on the platform longer if you're having like a debate with somebody versus like, hey, good job. Everybody likes it. You know, check like. But if you see something that you're going to argue about, you're going to be on the site longer.
Yeah.
So they're doing it for clicks. I don't know why she wants to go against the country she lives in. Like she should just move, I think.
Yeah, I agree. The thing about it is, if people would step back, and I was telling this story a little bit earlier, but I was excited because, you know, it's very, very rare to see, especially a Candace cultist, admit they're wrong. Like we have seen this tenfold. They will not admit that they're wrong. Well, yesterday, I made a post on X. And I'll be honest with everybody. I'll be completely transparent. X and TikTok, I just drop my shit off and leave. Okay. I don't interact there. You know, occasionally I will, but Facebook is my go-to. You guys are more fun, more interaction. But I posted one of the videos and a Candace cultist came in and he said, I don't believe this. I don't believe this one bit. And I said, well, did you watch the video? Because it's literally her saying it. So
right.
What don't
Which
you
one
believe?
was it? The shooting thing or?
I can't remember. Yeah. It was one of the more recent ones I've posted. And we went back and forth. He was being tactful. He was being tasteful. He wasn't being like most of the Candace cultists. And finally I said, well, look, dude, if you support her and you're watching this stuff and you're okay with that, then there's nothing I can say. You know, if you're okay with how she is doing this, that's on you, man. All I can do is show you the alternative, which is the truth. And I said, you know, I personally wouldn't want to have my name associated with somebody who protects pedophiles and rapists and sexual predators, defends them, associates with them. And he goes, what are you talking about? He said, no, she doesn't. So I just asked him.
I'm like, are you even watching it?
I said, how long have you been following Candace Owens? And he said, since September. I said, okay. And I started to realize that that's probably the case with 80% of the people following her because her audience has changed. So I shot him the video of her defending Weinstein. I shot her the footage of Andrew Tate and all that, her relations with him. And he actually came back and said, dude, I had no idea. And he said, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I didn't realize she was this sick of a person. And that was the first time that happened. So it's like, I think what we're seeing, to get to the point you were talking to, is Megyn Kelly Tucker Carlson, Candace, if you have watched them for as long as I have, this is nothing new. Nothing new. They go where the clicks are. You know, at one point in time, Megyn Kelly was pro-trans because that's what brought her the clicks. That's what brought her the revenue. Now she's not, because not being pro-trans brings you the clicks. You know, we know this with Candace being a diehard liberal, being anti-Trump because that's what was selling. Then all of a sudden she gets with Charlie Kirk, switches to conservatism because that's what's selling. That was the new thing. Everybody conservatism, this, that, and the other thing. I think what we're witnessing, Tara, is a change in the guard. Megyn Kelly, Tucker, Candace, they aren't catering to their original audience. That audience is gone because that audience was me. I used to watch Tucker. I used to watch Megyn. I used to watch Candace all before all this when they were completely different people. But then they shifted because so did the clicks and the revenue and what was popular. So I think that's what we're seeing. You know, they want to call it a big psyop. Now it's simpler than that. It's just about making money, and they have no character or respect for themselves. So they just go with what clicks.
So my thought of what I noticed, like when I first watched Candace's Charlie Kirk thing, because I knew who Candace was, and I was like, okay with her. I didn't really have an opinion. And when I first watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, she's terrible. Like everybody should be able to see it. But I was so surprised that a lot of people weren't able to see it. But I did notice, and I noticed this, and somebody told me the amount, which could be wrong. But when she brought up Israel and in a negative light, which they all do, she looked at her screen and she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a donation that big. And someone told me she's getting like $100,000, and they may be anonymous, where they don't even know who it is. But when you're on YouTube and you're looking at the screen and you're seeing, oh, I got $100. Oh, I got I got $19.99. I got $5. Cool. Let's, talk to this person. But if you see like $10,000 because you bashed Israel, but she takes it to the utmost level of, I'm going to just make as much money as I can off bashing Israel, back to taking it to JFK. Like, Netanyahu was involved with JFK. Okay, he was 14. So, yeah. And he wasn't, Netanyahu and Israel was involved in 9/11. No, we lived through it. We saw it. It was Muslim attackers. They had to go through a lot, like after that period. And I felt bad for Muslims at that point in time because they were getting attacked. So I remember, but Israel was not involved. Bibi wasn't even in office during 9/11. She said Bibi was doing this. What? Like from where? From like, none of it makes sense. But then I'm like, okay, so if you're getting addicted to the clicks, click, money, even if you don't, because people are like, well, they don't need the money. I'm like, well, you always want more money. Like you can, they may not need it, but it's like Trump said this, like money is like points in a game or on a scoreboard. The more you have, the more successful you are, in your own mind. And Megyn Kelly, I saw an interview, like she did like at a school with a bunch of kids. And he's a smaller social media influencer, and I don't remember his name, but he's like, Megyn, do you get offers from, Middle Eastern countries, Qatar, and things like that? Because why is nobody bringing up Islam? And I think she had in the past brought up Islam, but I'm just starting watching these people. And then she kind of looked, and then I saw her go over with Tucker and Candace, because you never would say anything bad about Candace. And I'm like, why is she not saying anything bad? Everybody sees it. But then she ties with Tucker and Candace, and she's throwing in the Israel. So my thoughts is she's seeing the addiction, the money, bing, bing. I don't like Israel, bing, bing. Okay, let's keep saying it. Let's just tie whatever negative thing that's ever happened in this country to Israel, because their points go up, and significantly.
Well, I think there are a ton of motives as far as Candace is concerned. Now, it doesn't take a genius. If you're on YouTube and your content is monetized, you can figure out the equation based on the views and come to a pretty good estimate of what you would be making if this video hit 50,000 views, if this video hit 100,000 views. And, you know, she's raked in easily just on YouTube about $60 million. Just off of Charlie Kirk, based on the views, millions of views.
So you get like $10, like in her situation, for like 1,000 views, or because I calculated about 50 to 60 million.
Yeah,
just from looking at all the different platforms and knowing like how much without the endorsements.
And that's just YouTube, Tara. That's not counting her on Rumble. That's not counting her on Apple and Spotify and Facebook. Every one of those monetized. So she is absolutely killing it because that's her business. It is a business. And instead of having self-respect, instead of having integrity and staying who you are, she's just going with, she's a sellout.
Well, she is who she is.
She's a sellout.
I think she's always been, she's going to turn to whatever. I think her husband influences it because he ran Parler and he writes a lot of her stuff. Oh, yeah. And he can hide behind her. And she's so good at just doing these weird, like manipulative things, almost like witchcraft or hypnosis to these people, because I'll point out obvious things. Like she lied right here. Yeah, but, and then it's like, you suck, you know, but you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay. Yeah. So you're defending, what are you defending here?
Well, what kills me is, you know, originally Candace's audience was the left because she was a diehard liberal. She was anti-Trump. Well, then she lost all them when she switched to conservatism and all of a sudden about God and, you know the drill. Then that started to decline because there were more educated people in the conservative movement. You got somebody like Ben Shapiro. He's never changed his point of view. Whether it clicks or not, he's going to continue to say what he's always believed.
Right.
So when you have, when you're trying to compare, not you, just in general, you're trying to compare somebody who has a GED that they got from homeschooling because they could no longer go to high school to educated people. I mean, she's a moron. And I'm not saying that
in criminology, and you know she's the CIA, because you can't trust the government, you can't trust the CIA, you cannot trust police enforcement. Like, if you can't trust the government, can you not trust the post office? Like, how broad of a statement is it? And what I'm finding is very scary. Is I only listen to Candace to get my news because mainstream media, you can't listen to mainstream media. I'm like, you can watch all of it and then come to your own conclusion. But like it's night and day with mainstream media versus podcasters, because they're just like out there in Israel or Iran with a reporter showing you exactly what's going on. She's just sitting in her basement making up crap.
Right. And the thing is, when it comes to her reporting the news, she can't even do that accurately. You know, like she was telling her audience that it was a general that was shot down in that F-15. A general would never even be in an F-15. But that's what she was reporting, that it was a general. And I'm like, I posted a video about it yesterday. I'm like, here are the actual news broadcasts. It's not a general. Where are you getting this information? So she can't even report real news properly. So she has to make up things that really can't be disputed because they're made up. How do you find, it's what I've tried to tell these Candace cultists. How do you find facts against something that isn't a fact? It's just it's a made up narrative. And you know, everything, and I think we can agree, anybody with some critical thinking skills can agree, everything that she is pushing out on Trump, on Erica, on all of her enemies is projecting. It's all stuff she's literally guilty of. You can go down the line. Everything she's accusing somebody else of, she has been guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to hide it that way because her audience doesn't know any better. They are an entirely new audience. Her audience is
like Democrats that are like, oh, good, she's going against Trump. Yeah, I don't
because there's a difference, and you can see it. You can see it on social media, Tara, that her old audience, which at one point was me, okay, they will say, I don't know what happened to Candace. I don't even listen to her anymore. You know, because that was the conservative audience that was watching her. So this new audience that she has is tailoring to the left and the liberal mentality. And that's who they have. And they don't know any better. They don't know anything before that. And, you know, and it's like, I've said this many times, when I came out on Candace in early September, it was more sympathetic than anything. Like, look, you're grieving. You need to take a step back, process all this stuff, you know, take a break from the podcast. I was trying to be understanding, you know, and we saw it. You can see it. Those first 2 weeks, she was nothing but supporting Erica Kirk and Turning Point and telling her audience, leave them alone, let them grieve, you know. But then once she found out that Erica could handle it and wasn't going to need her, because I swear, I believe she thought there was going to be a position for her. And Erica never reached out. And that's when she flipped like night and day. And it was at that point I thought, it was at this point, this isn't grief. This isn't depression. This is calculated. And that's when I started digging, and, you know, here we are today. But I needed people to know that initially I had sympathy for her. I thought she was just grieving and had some.
Watch her during the Macron stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagreed with her then, but I mean, there's things that Shapiro says and these Jordan Peterson says that I disagree with, but as a whole, I completely love them. You know what I mean? Right. We're not all going to agree 100%. And the Macron thing, to touch base on what you said with all the money she's making, I think that's what this is. It is pedal to the metal to make as much money as possible, because she knows here in a week or two, she's got another hearing for the Macron case. It is not going to get thrown out, and it's going to officially go to trial. So she's going to need a ton of money for that. Then, as we all know, everybody keeps saying that, you know, Erica and Turning Point and these other 7 individuals that I know of personally that want to sue Candace, they're saying, oh, they're not suing because then they'd have discovery. They would have to prove this stuff. No, that's not the case at all. Their attorneys have said you need to wait until Tyler Robinson's convicted, because once that's in print and he's convicted, that literally means everything that Candace has done and said is defamation. Right. So she's got 7 people that I know of on the Turning Point side that is just waiting for that gavel to hit. So she needs a ton of money because she's going to lose bad. It's going to be bad.
What if she just ignores it and doesn't go and doesn't pay? Like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, that she could do that. She could do that.
And that's what she's been doing.
In one of my videos, I actually suggested that the only way she'd get out of it is if she picked up and left the country. And I guarantee you we will see that. I guarantee you when it's all said and done, the end game is Candace is not going to live in the United States anymore.
No, she can work out of any basement she wants.
She can go to a country that doesn't offer extradition.
What is Qatar? Because I saw, and this could be fake, you can't trust anything, that George, her husband, has dual citizenship in Qatar. And I know, you know, just move there. Yeah. You know, just leave our country if you're going to, don't be a hypocrite. You know, you're going to go ahead and you're going to say all this bad stuff about Trump. What is the point? We're not in an election. He is your president for 3 more years. He's not going to run in his 80s again. He's forming his cabinet, and he's kind of positioning who he would want to run. And then he's going to endorse that person. But right now we are in the middle of a war. And when I watch it, it's more serious than we think. And normally I would cover something like that, but it's kind of scary. And this is a distraction, I think, for everybody of what's really going on. but we have to support our president because we're committed. Like, he is the one who's taking, he's our commander in chief. He is the one who is supposed to be protecting us right now.
Right.
And we are teamed up. We have a team with Israel. I don't care about the conspiracies. That is a fact. And we are fighting Iran. So anybody who's on the side of Iran in a war, like Vietnam, like, oh, well, we're on Vietnam's side. Okay, nobody liked that war. I get it. Nobody liked that war. But nobody was on Vietnam's team.
Right.
I mean, she's basically telling people, okay, go ahead and just join join Iran and fight for them.
Right.
Like, and I don't even think it's really a ground war yet. So
I mean, she's telling American soldiers, don't take orders from Trump. Don't do what they tell you. Well, then that's how you get court-martialed and you go to prison. I mean, this is the real world, Candace.
There's so much free speech right now that I don't know that he would even do that, because I was like, she's done like in September from what she's saying. And it's like, it gets worse and worse. And now it's attacking the president. And I think Tucker just called him the Antichrist today.
Right.
You know,
right.
When they were hanging out 3-4 months ago.
Yeah. They're building a new audience, a new alliance. And it's like I said, I believe the end game for Candace to survive all of this would be relocation. And I think she's going to be forced to do that. Now she can use, I guess it depends on the terms of the lawsuits, because what's going to happen is when these lawsuits finally go into effect, there are going to be gag orders. So she's not even going to be able to do her podcast from this country. She'd be able to go somewhere else and do it. So she's going to have a gag order. I mean, it's happening. And if people can read between the lines, it's happening more than we think. She has lawsuits brought against her all the time.
I think they're like piled up in like a room.
They're not high profile. Like she just had I can't remember the name of the airline. An airline sent her a cease and desist for something that she had said about this airline. And she literally went on her show and retracted what she said because she legally had to.
Okay.
So she's tough guy until it actually comes down to the wire.
But did she do it so quickly you wouldn't even notice? Like,
right.
I apologize to such and such airline, but griff, hands, you know, have a watch, like just all the stuff that like she said, the apology, I didn't see it, but I'm assuming because I can't watch her anymore. It's like,
it's hard.
Watch. I mean, I can watch it. If you're going to do the research and I see a clip, I'll be like, yep. And people are like, well, you don't watch her. I'm like, I have watched her, but I am not here to abuse myself here. I can watch a clip and say, she said this specifically. What do you think about it? And people will still defend it. And what's really angering me, I'll tell you this, is the pedophilia stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So, sorry, let me just turn off this beeping here. Sorry, I'll be right back. Okay. So what she's doing is she accused Erica Kirk of sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein. Erica was in Arizona and Jeffrey Epstein was in Florida. If you tie some of those, like the pictures that the AI ones where they put Erica and Epstein, I looked it up and it was like in 1995 and Erica was born in the late 88, November 88. So she was like 7.
Right.
So she was sex trafficking at 7 years old. These people don't know how to look at math and be like, wait a minute, he's been dead since 2019. Like, how old is he? Like almost 70s or something. And she's in her late 30s. Like, this is a math.
Yeah.
You know, and then Trump is a pedophile. And then Graham Allen is a pedophile. And it's like, if you sit there, there's pedophiles on the internet. Because sometimes I look at them and I'm like,
yeah.
He's a pedophile. Or he looks like one. I mean, maybe that's like judging. But and even like his post is all like pedophiles. If you're normalizing pedophilia by just calling people like Erica Kirk and Trump and podcasters, all of them pedophiles. So that shouldn't even be a subject that we're discussing. I don't think.
And you kind of said it, like the point we were making earlier that we were making earlier. Everything she is putting on somebody else, she is guilty herself. You know, she tried that Romania thing with Erica. But when you break it down and you actually look at Candace's history, she's the one that went to Romania. Yes, she went. That's where she interviewed Andrew Tate. She flew to Romania for that interview.
Why?
And interviewed him while defending him in that interview, while saying, you know, he was wrongfully accused, this, that, and the other thing.
So what happened with Andrew Tate? Because I don't know. The first ever podcast stuff I started watching was Candace when Charlie Kirk died.
And Andrew Tate, the summed up version is, up until recently, he had 32 charges brought against him for rape, molestation, sexual assault, and then a bunch of other exploitation, a whole bunch of stuff. And now they've added more charges to him again. But basically, he started out running a porn site, and he would go out and get 15, 16-year-olds. He is literally on video admitting to all this, that he would go out and get them, that he would have to have sex with them first. He would force them into that to make sure that they were going to be good for his webcam business and this, that, and the other thing. But so we're talking underage girls. He would not only was sexually active with, but he was exploiting them in his porn industry that he built. That's where he got all of his money from. So he gets arrested, him and his brother. And because Andrew Tate is friends with the Farmer family, particularly George. Okay. Andrew Tate was there at that dinner when Candace supposedly first met George. Andrew Tate was there. So they associate with this guy. And she flies to Romania for this exclusive interview, completely taking his side the entire time. And of course, as you know, she's done the same thing with Epstein or Weinstein and Russell Brand and a handful of others. But literally, you're trying to say Erica Kirk went to Romania, was doing all this pedophilia stuff when it was you. And it's on video. Right. Multiple videos. Like, dude, you want to make yourself sick to your stomach? Watch the interviews with Andrew Tate. This man doesn't hide it. He admits it. He tells you the techniques he uses. He tells you how young these girls are and how they're just... Do what now?
Did he get in trouble for any of this?
Oh, yeah. He got arrested. 32 counts. And then, of course, his attorneys got him out, you know, because it's still an ongoing case. And now they've added more charges to this man. And now he is trying to sue other podcasters for exposing him. Like what's the guy? Milk Bar TV. I don't know if you're familiar with Milk Bar TV. He's a very anti-Candace podcaster. Well, he has started.
I might have seen him then.
Yeah, you have. He has started revealing stuff about Andrew. Well, Andrew is now suing him. And this guy, see, that's why they go overseas to these areas where they can't be extradited. They can sit there on the internet. They can come after anybody with no repercussions. And that's why I think Candace is going to do the same thing.
Would Tucker too? Because he's getting pretty bad.
Probably.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, Tucker, I've always kind of dismissed Tucker ever since I started watching him way back. I want to say it was on Fox. You could tell he is that shady. He's like a Gavin Newsom type. You know, he's just got that. He's going to say whatever sells you the point.
Right.
He's the king of backpedaling. I had done a video on Tucker one time where what he'll do is he'll say something and see how the world reacts to it. Did it bring him more views or did it make him hated? And if it worked, he doubles down on it. If it didn't work, the next episode, I don't know what I was thinking that day. You know, I really don't think that way. And he does this. It's a pattern with him. Like the stuff with Candace is a pattern. If you watch enough of these people, you can see it as plain as day. And that's the problem. People don't. They're new to them. Well, it's the new fans. It's the new fans that are defending them. It's not the old ones. We are the old ones.
Okay, so you're an old fan, but I know people where I grew up in Orange County that actually went to Mar-a-Lago and helped with the campaign, which I did too, like on Facebook, and they turned against him and for Candace. So they were all, you're going to turn against Trump for Candace? Right. Is she going to defend us in a war or just complain about something, that you can't, or be on the other side of her own country? So that is where I started getting into, I'm like, come on, really? You're going to really go against the man who built America? I mean, he's not just a president. I mean, he has done everything. He's employed millions of people, like just from a perspective, nothing to do with politics. Are you going to support Candace or, your fired guy? Like, right. Just on the same level. And that's where I started getting into this. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they have, I've been friends with them. Maybe they know. No, I'm not friends with them anymore. That's just the bottom line, because, I still was friends with people who didn't like Trump because that's a president. Yeah. But to not support your country. I mean, they've said things like Israel should be it turned into a parking lot. Like, how do you go against Trump for Candace Owens? And what is she going to give you?
And that's the difference too, Tara, whether that's the point you're getting to or not. But I think that's the difference in somebody who's patriotic and somebody who's not. Because did I like Biden and Kamala? Absolutely not. They're both idiots. Okay. But I still live here. I didn't want to see them fail. I want good things for this country. I want good things for you, for me, my grandkids, future generations. I don't want to see any president fail, whether I like them or not. That's and I think that's a big difference. Whereas if you are honest with yourself, you can say, hey, and I've said this before. I actually said it to Sam earlier today. Trump's got the personality of a dead nail. He is an asshole. Okay. Is he a guy that I would go out and share a Coke with? No. No.
I like him.
Would I like to hang and meet him? Yeah, it'd be great. Go to White House, all that kind of stuff. But is he a guy I'm going to sit there and have a conversation like you and I are? Probably not. Well,
do you watch all of his speeches?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Because I see him I know what he's talking about, but I could see where it could be confusing if you didn't know what story he's focusing on.
Right. And again, he is a salesperson. He's a business person, and that's what we needed in office, not a politician. So I know when he says, hey, we're going to wipe out an entire culture, we're going to nuke Iran. I know that's just a card he's playing to get them to move. Let's seal this deal, guys. He wasn't actually going to do that, but I hope not. Yeah. But people don't see it that way. But here's the thing. The point I'm getting at is if you have an inkling of intelligence, nobody can deny that this man has went in there and in 1 year's time did more than any other president ever did in just 1 year. Right. And it's all good stuff. Yeah. Right. You may disagree with, hey, we feel that trans people should be able to use whatever bathroom they want. Yeah, that's a personal opinion.
Boys and girls sports is always,
those are just personal opinions. But when we're talking about things that's helping the economy, that's keeping the country safe, that's good for our children, you can't deny that this man has historically broken every single presidential record for the better, whether you like him or not. There are things that Obama did that I thought, that's a good move. That's a good move, man. I don't like you because I know you've got different intentions, but that was a good move. I'm not going to hate on something that was good just because I don't like Obama. And I think that's where people need to grow up a little bit. This digital generation is just like, I don't like him, so that means whatever he does is bad. Well, you're an idiot. You are an idiot then, because you've got more money in your paycheck because of him, and you're going to complain about it. You know, you're complaining about the very things that he's actually helped you with. Yeah. And if you look at the majority, the people that are so anti-Trump are the very people he took away their free ride. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down, because it is not about feelings anymore. It is about fact.
Yeah, like SNAP benefits and
right.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole immigration thing. And the perfect example of that is Bill Clinton, Obama, still to this day have deported more people than President Trump. And there wasn't a single complaint when it was Obama. Right. When it was Obama and Clinton doing it, it was okay.
Well, what I noticed between the two presidents is that Trump talks on a daily basis. I don't even know how this guy I don't even think he sleeps. But he tells you play by play, a lot of times kind of hints before, but then after explains to what he was doing.
Yeah.
Now, Obama, Biden, they didn't ever really say what was going on. They didn't really even tell you what they were doing. And Trump says so much so often, which also gives people a chance to pick apart and pick things out to criticize him on. But Trump is a salesperson, and he doesn't care if you talk crap about him. If you're talking about him at all, good or bad, you're talking about him. And I think in 2016, because he was so active on social media, that helped him win the election. 2020, they pulled him off. I still think it was rigged, but we don't know.
It was.
But that didn't help, that he didn't have a voice, and he wasn't able to tell you exactly what he was going to do and change from Biden. And people also don't remember the last 4 years we had Biden. It's like he's completely forgotten. Well, Trump did this 2 years ago. No. He was not even in office.
Right.
And people forget about it. So,
well, to touch on that, when gas prices were through the roof with Biden, the Democrats and the liberals blamed overseas. It had nothing to do with Biden. It was overseas. But gas prices are high with Trump. It's Trump's fault.
Right.
So there's a double standard there, man. And like I said, I don't care who's president. For me, I'm a conservative. Yes, I lean clearly more to the right, but I don't care. Man, woman, black, white, pink, purple. I don't care. Just do the job. And that was the point I was slowly getting at earlier. You have to be an adult and at least respect reality. For instance, probably a better example that people would understand. There are musicians I cannot stand. They are just awful people. Okay. Awful people. Right. But I can't deny
that they're good musicians,
that they're great musicians, and they can write good songs and, blah, 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 blah. Like I knew a guy one time that stopped listening to Queen when he found out Freddie Mercury was gay. And I'm like, what does that have to do? You love the music, though. You got all their records.
Right.
So what's that have to do? You don't have to like the man.
Right.
Just like movies. And look, how many do you think people went out and stopped watching Weinstein movies?
They probably didn't even know what he directed.
No, they didn't stop. They didn't stop watching them. So clearly you appreciate the man had a talent for production.
Right.
But you don't have to like him as a person. And I think that's the problem, is people that's where they stop. It's full stop. If I don't like you, then it doesn't matter after that. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and they're also highly influenced on the internet. Sometimes like I see people following bots. I'm like, they're like, unfollow her. And then I'm like, look, and he's like from Pakistan. I'm like, oh, you're going to unfollow me from this guy from Pakistan? And I think, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Candace's algorithm was pushed up by a significant amount of bots, because I get a lot more traction on her post even on a negative level, where somebody who is positive for Candace gets the most traction. So I get specific bots that are, trying to defend her, and they spell her name with an I. It's like you are defending her, but you don't know how to spell her name.
Right.
And so that pushes all up the algorithm, and that's helping her get her name out there. And a lot of people are sheep in a bunch of specific ways, and they like that grift, and they like that anger, and they like to hear that somebody would actually say that to Trump. Somebody would actually, like Tucker called Trump the Antichrist. Well, we're not even in an election. So
right.
Like you said with Obama, I didn't really care either way. I wasn't even into politics till 2020. Yeah. But I wouldn't be like, oh, hopefully we get bombed because I hate Obama.
Right. Exactly. I hope we all die because I just don't like this guy.
Or if they came on our land, I would fight for the other country.
Right. I'm joining them because that makes sense. That's the funny part. Why don't you go ahead and move there then? And then find out what freedom doesn't mean over there. Why don't you go do that?
Right.
And then come back here and you're going to realize, hey, I had it pretty good.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. It's just hypocritical. And the internet, I like the free speech part because I felt so censored on every single thing. I had to write in code, and like I would, now just whatever the most outrageous thing you can say goes. And you have to keep facts into it, really, because at the end of the day, there's so much misinformation and fake news, which is so funny because the left is saying that now. You're saying fake news. You're saying misinformation. Epstein. They didn't care about any of that before.
Well, here's the trick, Tara, and I've kind of alluded to this a little bit in some of the videos, and you can take this information and run with it. And anybody watching this People's Panel can take this information because it is going to change the way you view things. Now the point I'm getting at is people by majority on the internet. Now give me the floor here for a second because it's going to take a second to explain. They accept things at face value, right? They see it and just instantly believe it, and that's it. They don't take it beyond that. They don't go do any research for themselves. That's why I put this together. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So people can take that and be like, now I freaking see. Now here's the one thing I want you to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you guys watching at home, try this. Okay. I think everybody knows that you can buy followers. You can buy likes. You can buy comments. There are big. Know that. Oh yeah, just Google it. Buy Facebook followers, and let's say for $100 you get 1,000 followers or something. Okay,
really,
this is a big thing. It's a big industry. Okay, because why? Because marketing is all about perception. Right. And I see it with the troll comments. Oh, haha, she's got 7.5 million followers, but you've only got 12,000. Ha. So that's how they judge things. Okay. Right. The more followers you have, the more important you are perceived. Right. Mm-hmm. But that's when you need to start doing math in your head. Candace Owens has 7.5 million followers on Facebook. After you get off of here, go to her profile.
Right.
And then look at how many likes she has on her most recent post. Okay. This is where you do the math. If you have 7.5 million followers, the safe equation is you should at least be getting 20% interaction. So if you've got, we'll keep the number simple. If you've got 10 followers, that means 2%.
Right. Mm-hmm.
2 people should be liking your shit or commenting on it. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you've got 10,000, 200. Okay. And you can kind of go from there. You go to her profile, and you guys can do this right now while we're talking. Look at her most recent post. It's lucky to have 3,000 to 4,000 likes.
Oh, I was looking before and they were like 30,000, or even 100,000.
Because here's what happens when you buy bots and you buy follows. Those aren't real accounts. So they aren't real accounts to come and like your stuff, to come comment on your stuff. So yeah, it may say 7.5 million followers, but those are just millions of fake profiles that have been used to like your page.
Or just follow and take off.
Fair Media is another example. Go to his profile, 275,000 followers. The man is lucky to break 20 likes on any given post on any day.
I noticed that on a few people. I'm like, did they build up at one point and like now they don't have the content?
But then you go to Facts Me, 12,000 followers. Consistently, I average 200 to 400 likes and comments per post. So that fits into that 20-25% expected ratio. So when you have 7.5 million followers and your likes can't even break 5,000,
right?
That shit's fake.
Right.
That means you've got, let's say if she's averaging 5,000, she might be looking at actually having maybe 300,000 legitimate followers.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks about stuff like that.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe if we want to do like 20, what was the percentage that you said, or the first number?
They average it between 20 and 25%.
Okay.
And you think about it as yourself. Like, what stuff do you react on? Are there pages that you follow that you don't ever react on anything? Not probably. Not too much.
Most of our audience is pretty organic.
Right.
Because people were like, how did you build it up like from 7,000 to 12 in like 6 months or 13? It's like, okay, well, I found a group of people that are interested in this particular subject matter, and then they follow us. But I did want to mention too, you were starting to math things, and math, I do mortgages. So I have to switch my brain because mortgages are slower right now.
Yeah.
And you cannot lie in math, but they don't really know how to do math. I've never seen them like put into, an equation or what percentage, like, hey guys, what's 10% of 100?
But now
11.5.
Now people at home can start looking like Candace is so big. Perception wise, you would expect to go to her Facebook page and there'd be hundreds of thousands of likes on a post, and there's not.
The only thing she did have was the first Charlie Kirk one. I think that was real.
But there again, you're looking at both sides coming to see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I would never go, but I was shocked because I was getting comments about Tyler Robinson and going, what is this person saying? But yes, no, you can see a definite drop, and it's obvious that bots are bought.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a thing. Like I said, you guys at home, you can Google buy YouTube subscribers, buy TikTok followers. And there are businesses that do this, except they're just pages that these businesses own, that when you buy X amount of followers, they log into that page and they go and they follow you from it. Then they log into another page, follow you from it to get you up to what you just bought. And then they never mess with your profile again because they're fake profiles.
So somebody creates, like, say, 20 profiles, and they're the ones who are selling that. They'll go on and you bought just one. Let's just say one. And so they make 20 profiles, and you're like, I just want to buy a bot. He comes on yours. He goes on 20 different pages. He bounces, but you have an extra follower. And there's multiple of this.
Yes.
Candace could have millions, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's got a cult following, and there's not millions of, I went to a party and I was like, oh, go on my Facebook, but you're going to see a lot of Candace Owens stuff. They're like, who's Candace Owens?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, well, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? They're like, oh, is that the one who got shot? And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm learning about Tyler Robinson. Who's that? And
people need to separate. The internet is reality, but it's part of our reality. But you've got to separate that. Like the stuff that is being done on the internet with Candace and stuff isn't happening in the real world. No. This is a legal, real case.
Right.
So you're like in make-believe land over with Candace versus what's really actually happening.
Yeah.
And you can, if you take the time Like I went to, I watch her live shows so I can get the information.
Right.
And I will watch the chat. And like you said earlier, I will see people dropping $50, $100, $500, sending her this money, right? But then you click on that user.
Mm-hmm.
They've got no subscribers, no photo, no nothing. So is this something one of her people are off to the side?
Do you notice the content of what she's saying when those large donations pop up?
It differs. And some of them are legit. Like you would click the profile and you could tell this person's a real person.
Well,
but there are some
out of the country that are just like what she's saying at that moment in time, and they don't really have a profile, but they're just sending it through a profile.
Right. So it's like, for instance, let's say as I'm sitting here talking to you, and let's say this was live, and I had beforehand, I created 20 different YouTube profiles, all under a different email, all a different username, just random pictures I picked off the internet to make it look like this, that, or the other thing. And as we're on here talking, let's say we got a live chat on my other computer here or tablet or phone or something. I log into one of those, come to my own chat as this person that I created, and then I can say whatever.
Oh.
Or I can go ahead and send myself some money because people are followers by nature.
Right.
They see, oh, that person just sent $50 to let me get on here. I'm going to send her 100. Right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It is a system. It is one big grift, man.
I wonder if George Farmer, her husband, does a lot of that because he, was the CEO of Parler. So he gets all of that because she is pumped. She's bumped up on that algorithm, and any influencer who listens, who is for her or against her, sees that their posts are, more active when it comes to Candace Owens.
There
so
are
good too.
There are Chinese companies that make billions off of this. When you get time today, Google Chinese companies with fake profiles, and it'll show you the studios of these people. And there's literally a wall of cell phones, a wall of tablets. They're surrounded by different laptops, and they're controlling hundreds and hundreds of fake profiles.
Oh, wow.
All from these different devices to make you think somebody's bigger than what they actually are.
Right. And then people pay them, or do sometimes they just do it for info? I'll go on my Facebook.
Lie and like the I'm not going to continue leading people on. Candace does it like she's writing a Netflix show. That
reality show,
right? I'm
going to bring that up to you after you're done.
The whole TV cliffhanger thing. The reason TV shows do cliffhangers is because they need you to come back the next week,
right?
Or your advertisers pull their advertising.
Right.
So they leave you on that cliffhanger to make sure you return. And that's what Candace does, except on her show. She'll leave you with a cliffhanger to make sure that same 2 million people come back tomorrow. Right. And then she'll lead with something else and just keeps pulling that bait, and just stringing you along. But what was your thing with reality TV?
She's like a soap opera star. And I see like a transitioning thing from TV into YouTube and onto social media. And you mentioned about like reality stars, and she is very much like a reality star, but I don't think she would ever go on a reality show, because if you think about a reality show, what you've been on one, you've got like 200-300 people working on the set. A lot of times the talent or the people that they're doing the reality show based on maybe make 4,000, and they'll go to like, smaller towns and things like that. And they just really don't pay. But she's sitting in her basement making $60 million doing what you would do on a reality show, which is scripted. We know that.
It is.
But I don't see her going away. Do you see her going away?
I think she's going to be forced to when the legal issues start, she's not going to be able to talk about these things. So she's either going to have to come up with something else that's new and interesting that in no way can be related to the lawsuits, or she's just going to disappear until the lawsuits are over. She'll probably take some really big paying interviews, probably some kind of book. She's going to do whatever she can aside from that, because legally she won't be able to get on her podcast and talk anything Charlie Kirk once that lawsuit is filed.
Now, why hasn't that happened already?
Well, like I've said, it has. I know of 7 people that have confirmed to me that they are waiting for Tyler to be convicted, because then it's lock and stock. If they do it now, it creates too much misinformation, and it could really screw with the jury. You know, it's too much bias. So they've got to wait till it's one and done. He is convicted, then it's over. Those papers, the 2 of the guys already told me our papers are already drawn up. We're just waiting for that day to come, and then she's going to be served. Okay, 7 people that I'm aware of. But let's talk about the reality TV. I know we're going over a little bit. Reality TV thing is fake, okay? And here's the thing. Everything Candace is trying to say, all this damning stuff about Erica, she is pulling from a reality show.
Oh, which show do you think?
You know, the dating show that Erica Kirk was on. So her drinking alcohol is from that reality show. Her saying sex sells is from that reality show. Her hanging on to guys is from that reality show. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've done almost a dozen reality shows. Okay. It is entirely scripted.
Right.
Okay. Like in my case, I did all the paranormal shows. Okay. The ghost shows. Cool. And I would go out to California. I'd go to one studio. You would sit in there and they would interview you for 4 hours, getting you to say this or getting you to allude to this. Then they'll take all of that audio and they will cut it up and make their own sentences of you saying things that you didn't necessarily say.
Which is done on YouTube.
All the time. Okay. Right. You know, the one episode, it was for the Travel Channel. They wanted me to refer to a haunting as demonic. And I said I couldn't because I didn't see anything that would lead me to believe it was demonic. They kept pushing. But they took enough of my audio to cut it up and make me say in that show that I believed it was demonic, and I never even said that. You just
said I believe it's demonic, so I could have just clipped that out.
Right.
Even though right before.
Right. That's what they do. So you can't reality isn't reality. It's not fact. It is literally just another genre of fiction. So you can't take this fictional show and things that were said and done on a fictional reality show and say that's who Erica is. She was being paid and had no choice. Once you sign those non-disclosure agreements for a TV show, they can do whatever they want with your content, whether you agree with it or not. So it's apples and oranges when Candace is trying to do that. So when we come back at her with the things that we are exposing of her, that's not from a TV show. Those are from court documents. Those are from arrests. Those are from things that are documented in reality. There is a difference.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I kind of think that a lot of this is a reality show, and it's an interactive one, which people really enjoy. You know, to be able, Candace is, we think this. And when you say we think this, then you're including everybody. And like, I don't know if I really think that, but like as a collective group, we think it.
Right.
You know, so she's got there's a lot of psychology. We could, you know, at some other point, look at what she's doing to hypnotize the people who aren't bots. Because there's a lot still.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, like logical people that I'm like, really? You're going over there? Like, you're going over the dark side. I guess you don't see it. But yeah, there's a lot of like, if we wanted to ever look at some of hypnotizing or hypnosis, that these, the wording, the things that they say, the way that they say something sort of factual or even not factual, but tie it into everybody is going to believe what they say. There's a huge psychology that I would be interested in studying at some point. I think.
Oh, yeah. And that's, again, not to pull a plug, but when it comes to the grifting scene, I'm telling you, I've spent, and here's the thing, I've spent my life dealing with publishers. You know, my other books were ghost stories. I know that world. I know the music industry and how to sell it. I know the TV and film industry because I've been there. I've been behind the camera just as much as in front of it. It is all a system.
Right.
And that book, that's where I came up with the Blue Playbook Conservative. It just hit me one day when I was watching Tucker, and I was like, you know what? He's acting like a leftist. What would I call somebody like that? And I'm like, they're playing like they're a Democrat, but they're pretending to be a Republican or a conservative. So it's like they're using the Blue Playbook, and that's where that came from. Like they're wearing red, but they're literally pulling from the Blue Playbook, the Democrats, that mentality, that ideology. And it's just to pull the wool over people's eyes.
When did you write the book? Sorry to interrupt.
I had it done, I would say, mid last year. And then everything happened with Charlie, and then, you know, Candace hitting the ground running and all that stuff. And I was like, I need to revisit this manuscript before I put it out there, because there was just more information, more things because I have a degree in psychology, and I was seeing what the tactics you were just talking about being used. And I was like, that needs to be in this book. All this stuff that we're seeing currently needs to be in this book. Now, I don't put Candace's name in there just because it's Candace, and she, you know, I'm not going to give her that easy out, but you know what is being talked about, and the stuff, man, you'd hit yourself in the head. Just like us talking about the likes and match the likes to the follows. Look at that. It should fit that 20-25%. People don't think about that stuff. They just don't. But now they will, and these red flags will start popping up.
That's true. So are you selling the book, or?
Oh yeah, it's on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Because
Barnes and Noble, Walmart.
Someone wrote me and they're like, I Facts Me guy, you know, said I want a book. And then someone else wrote me, they're like, which shirt should I buy from Facts Me? And I'm like, buy this one. So
I did the book contest, and 3 or 4 people, I picked one or whatever. And it's like, I ordered the books. I didn't realize they were going to take so long for me to get them. And I just got them like last week and just got them out yesterday. I felt so bad, but it's like, look, if you want it signed, it's got to come to me first. And then I've got to go out and get it out to you. So, but they're out. You guys should be getting them soon.
Okay, cool. Hopefully I can get one too. And then
absolutely.
Look through, because I studied communication sociology at ASU, which is another reason I kind of have like a soft spot for Erica, you know, because she went to ASU and I lived in the same area, and she probably from that reality show understood, like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not getting on anything. I'm keeping my mouth shut. So when anybody says Erica is upset about something like the Drewski thing, she said nothing. But I think he wrote that. I can't accuse him, but somebody did. They literally took her ex account. It said Erica Kirk. She didn't write anything on her ex. And said something very vain. Oh, I didn't like the contours of the makeup or the blue eyes. And, you know, there's a cease and desist. And she said nothing. And the skit did okay. But the anger of Erica showing that her concern and how upset really, really sold, which is complete lie. Yes. Nobody even looked it up. So I hope people see that just to defend honesty. And I don't think anybody should be stealing and writing, pretending there's somebody on X. I don't want anybody to pretend to be me. Nobody would want anybody. No, you wouldn't want somebody to be like, Facts Me wrote this and send it around. And it's not even you. And I don't know why she's not protected from that, but that was
she will be. She will be. Again, this goes back to waiting on that gavel to go down, because that's been we've seen a lot of arguments from people. Why isn't Erica saying anything? Why is it? That means she's complicit. No, that's what her attorneys told her to do. But the real shit
about that case,
the real shit is going to hit the fan when that gavel goes down. Because see, here's what people don't understand about defamation. As long as you're telling the truth, you can't have a defamation case brought against you. Okay, so we know Candace tried to sue her landlord, for instance. We'll just use that example. The mold.
Oh,
right?
The black mold, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, she took a picture, dolled herself up to make her look like she was really suffering. And we know she lost.
Backfired, so
you know, she lost the lawsuit and in turn was ordered to pay close to $20,000, maybe a little bit more with legal fees, to her landlord. Right. That is a fact.
Right.
So me putting that stuff out, she couldn't come at me for that because that's not defamation. That's true. That is public knowledge. Yeah. So once that gavel hits, then you're going to see these people that have kept their mouth shut not. Because then the lawsuits are going to fly. And then because they all know, all those people at Turning Point know more about Candace Owens than any of us do.
Right.
They've got all her dirty laundry, but they're not saying it right now because they can't.
Do you think some of those guys would even stoop to that level of gossip?
I don't think they'd go as far as her, but here's the thing. It wouldn't be gossip.
Right. Because it's true.
We're just telling people the truth. This is what happened when she was here. This is what she did. Da, 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 da. If it's true, she can't do shit. It's only when you're making things up and you have to prove that defamation by showing it has affected you in some way, whether it's caused you to lose money, maybe you're being threatened out in public, you know, and that's going to be so easy for Erica because people have threatened her life.
Well, and she told them to pull their donations from Turning Point.
Right. So it's lock and stock. It's just only a matter of time.
Well, we'll have to discuss the trial at some point too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
We believe the same on that. And a lot of people who aren't bots are like, I'm like, seriously, you didn't even look into this. Yeah. Like, you're not making any logical sense. So that would be, you know, I'm hoping we don't have like an OJ or Casey Anthony type of thing go on. I just can't wait for that day when people are like, oh, he did.
Yeah. But you know, there's still going to be the morons that, oh, he wasn't guilty. It just proves it was a government cover up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, something that could have been done so simple. Okay. You know, Tyler could have sat in a car on any street waiting for Charlie to drive by. He could have done it then. He didn't have to do it in some big ass crowded place. You know, they want to call it she wants to call it this big conspiracy and all these people are involved. If that was the case, they wouldn't have done it at an event that size.
Right.
They would have had a sniper a mile and a half down the road with a dragging off Russian sniper rifle and would have shot him professionally.
Or if Erica did it, she would have poisoned him. I mean,
and again, the whole Erica
why
thing.
Would you go shoot somebody at a college campus? But he was talking about shooters at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which ironically he was shot. And I don't think that's that difficult of a shot.
But there's no motive for Erica. It's like I've always said. Why would she kill somebody for everything that she already had?
I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
She had it all. It's not like killing him and she would get it. No, Candace thought that's what was going to happen. She was going to get it.
Well, why? I mean, have these people not been married or had coworkers that they're friends with or had friends? Like, why would you think those people would kill you versus somebody who's been stalking you and hates you and has a group of friends that hate you and they're going to cheer you on?
Yeah.
When they kill, I'm just using myself as hypothetical. When they killed me, I would think the stalker whose friends were going to cheer them on would kill me versus my husband.
Right. Yeah. You would think the person who has a nearly 20-year history of burning every bridge she's ever walked across, right, would be the person you would accuse, not the person who already has everything this man has to offer.
Right. Yeah. Which could be involved, but you know.
Well, Tara, let's wrap this up. People's panel here at Facts Me. Tara, it was awesome having you on the show. We're going to do it again. And like I said, we'll do a round table down the road when something big hits and we all want to kind of sit around and have a good round table discussion. I think that would be a lot of fun. It's doing what Charlie did, going out to universities and giving people a platform to, you know, speak their opinion, speak what they feel, you know. I think more and more people should do that. To me, it's not about me. It's about everybody else. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, and you're doing awesome. And I think it's fun. And I'm glad we connected on, something we're both passionate, something that we see and people actually see and come on our pages organically.
Yes.
We don't need to buy bots.
Yes,
we can
exactly.
give our money there. So,
yeah.
But it's been awesome. And I hope we can do it again. And
we will.
Thank you.